Hello, listeners. You're welcome to a beautiful and amazing episode of the Vigilant podcast. I trust you're having a great day. It's almost weekend, and I know you're trying to wrap up things at work. And I'm bringing your way a lovely discussion with some young, amazing people who will be doing this with me. I am Elizabeth Fidelis, your host for the Vigilant podcast. And on today's podcast, we are going to be talking about youth entrepreneurship. You don't want to go anywhere, so join me as we proceed straight into today's podcast. You're still on the Vigilant podcast. Are you new to our channel on Spotify? Well, that is amazing because you just found us. On Vigilant Podcast, we bring to your ears the heart of issues affecting the nation and the globe worldwide, ranging from political issues, economic issues, civil issues, sports, literature, and whatever issues that you can think about. And why we're doing this, it is because we want to prefer solution. And on today's episode of the Vigilant Podcast, I've gone out of the way to bring two lovely, amazing people who will be doing this together with me. These are young people who are doing well in their fields. All right. And because they are youth, that is why I have brought them. So I'm so excited to have another guest also join me. So I'm going to be introducing my guest to you. I have with me Marvelous Olomu, Benjamin Upepe, and Moses James. All right. So Marvelous, you can actually say hi. Mr. Upepe, please, you can turn off your camera. Thank you very much.
All right, good evening. Uh, I hope the day has been going well.
Yes.
As earlier said, my name is Marvelous Olo. I am a student, I am a data vendor, I am a reading coach, I'm a writer, and a public speaker. I have
Well,
a whole lot of alongside, but let's stop there. And I
thank you
hope
so
you,
much, Marvelous. So nice to meet an amazing young person like you doing well for yourself. All right. Thank you, Mr. Benjamin, for joining us. Okay, please, can you introduce yourself? Just a short introduction. All right. You can unmute your mic. Thank you very much.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benjamin Opepe. So I am happy to be here, and I also want to say thank you very much to my coach Elizabeth for this honor. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm glad to be here. I'm a leadership expert, a practicing internal auditor,
All right.
and working in the hospitality industry.
Oh, that's beautiful. Nice to have you on the show. Thank you so much. All right,
Thank you.
Benjamin, please just tell us a little about yourself.
I'm Benjamin Opepe. I'm a story writer and also a motivational speaker.
Oh, nice to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, I'm so happy to have you all here. And so, on today's discussion, we're going to be talking about youth entrepreneurship. We are all aware that Nigeria is well populated, with the majority of its population being youth. Now, with the country having mainly young people, national growth and a soaring economy should be the visible order of the day. However, it remains an unreachable dream because the youth who should build the nation are placed in default settings, like clones controlled by a mastermind to become perpetrators of atrocious acts in the society, which has contributed to the degraded state of Nigeria currently. And this youth, when caught in the act, you know what they say? They justify it with, oh, I'm trying to survive. Now, and because they are unable to find a responsible and sustainable source of income to satisfy the basic need of life, they have no option than to engage in these vices. And coming to a country like Nigeria that has majority of the population being youth, we should be productive. Looking at other countries like US, UK that are doing well, Nigeria should be a productive country. In the economy, there's meant to be an economic boom, there's meant to be growth. Now, that is why on today's podcast, we are going to be talking about this. What is the way forward? Is youth entrepreneurship the way forward to help our youth of this country and also to help Nigeria as a country grow? All right, now to my guest, Marvelous. Marvelous, you're a young person. Now, for people listening to this podcast, who is a youth? Yes, let's start with that. Who is a young person? Because most people say, "Oh, I'm not a youth. I'm not a youth." So, who is a youth? Yes, let's start with that. Marvelous.
All right. So there are various definitions, there are various perceptions.
Okay.
To being a youth, you see a man of 70 saying I'm a youth, and you find a young person of 20 telling you I'm an adult, I'm not a youth, I'm no longer a youth, right? So from my perspective and from what I've seen so far, I would say
Yeah.
a youth is an agile personality. As
Wow.
far as you are still agile, you are not a person that is to carry from A to B before you can move. You can move your hands yourself, you can move your legs yourself. Your brain is still active. You are still the youth. It
Right,
is
that's an amazing
youthfulness.
definition. No, you can
Youthfulness is
go on.
not by Youthfulness is not by age. Youthfulness is not by how many years you spent on earth. Youthfulness is not even by your experience. It is by how agile you are mentally, emotionally, and physically.
All right. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for that beautiful definition. All right. In your perspective, Moses, who is a young person? Like when people talk about, oh, I'm a youth, who is a young person supposed to be? Or how do we call or identify somebody who is a youth?
Okay, thank you very much for having me here. Just like the last speaker has said, a youth, to me, in my own perspective,
All right.
does not really, the age does not really matters. What
Oh,
matters is your agility.
okay.
How capable are you to move from one place to other and to adapt to certain things?
Oh, all right then.
Age wise, age wise, it is also noted that some identify youthful age to be between the age of 18 to 30, some 40 and thereabout. But all those criteria do not really matters when it comes to youthfulness, because youthfulness is your agility to adapt to certain things, to be able to do certain things that is obtainable for a youthful age.
All right, thank you so much for that beautiful definition. Okay, finally, Benjamin. All right, so just say something little. All right, who do you feel a youth is? Because Moses just said a youth isn't about your age. Anybody can be a youth in as much as you're agile. So that means if I'm 50 and I'm agile, I'm a youth. But Marvelous is saying that she also talked about agility. All right, she talked about agility. And Benjamin, do you agree with those people? Do you agree with what they have said?
All right. Thank you very much, Ma. I agree with what Ms. Marvelous and Moses said.
All right.
They are very right. Youthful age is not all about age or tallness or the 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 the, the things the person have achieved. It's all about strength, one's strength. Someone who has strength, one who is active. Anyone who is active is still young. Anyone who can work very well and go about um, getting one or two things like that is still a youth. So youthful age is all about strength. One who has strength in him is a youth. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. But then I won't really agree with you all because, by standard definition, if we look at who a youth should be, a youth is actually a young person. Because now we know that if we are splitting the population of a country, we look at we look at the young people, we look at this, look at children. Then after children, we have teenagers, and teenagers is rated from, I think, 9 to 18 years, if I'm not wrong, 9 to 18 years. Now, a youth should actually be, by the world standard, it should be somebody from 19 to 30 years. That is how it's actually been rated. So if you are saying that, oh, a youth should not just be somebody who is young, it is actually about agility. Now, so if somebody is 50, do we call the person a youth? So I feel that we should understand that when we're talking about youth in this country, we're looking at people who are in their prime, right? Talking about not just about agility, okay? It's about people, their appearance. You can't compare somebody of 50 with somebody of 20. They don't have the same appearance. It can't be possible, all right? Because somebody of 50 is going to show that the person is already elderly. So if you check it from 40 years upward, you're an adult. They classify them under adult, all right? So the youth are actually the working population in the country, and that's the people that actually make up this country. So um I don't really want to accept that definition that you all just gave, that is about agility. I feel that there are other things that we should look at. But now we standing, we move on with the discussion. All right, so there's something actually that interests me so much. Something actually interests me. The Maslow's hierarchy of need. Now, he states that you know at this, if you're actually very familiar with the Maslow hierarchy of needs, all right, we have the survival needs, all right, that's the physiological needs that occupy the last chain, all right, the last bottom of the chain. Now, you know that as human beings or as young people, there is this instinct that wants you to survive. You want to see money, you want to eat, you want to flex. Being young, a lot of things attract you as a young person, because you're on social media, you're seeing people flexing money, you're seeing your favorite celeb and everything. But as humans generally, all right, this need has to be certified, because if you don't certify your basic need like clothes, food, and all that, you can't actually survive. You won't even have motivation to do anything. Now, Maslow said something that really intrigues me. He said that when a person's physiological demands are met, their desire for protection and security emerges. That means young people actually want to certify the current need they have. So they will rather think about, oh, I need to get that clothes now, I need to get that money now, I need to do this now, before they start thinking of if they want to start business to help the nation, if they want to become leaders to empower the country. I don't know if you guys are getting me. So my question is, since the youth of this country are actually trying to certify the basic need they have, and the country is not in a favorable condition that can actually help them to achieve that, what is the way out? What is the way out? All right, so does anyone have anything to say? What is the way out? What is the way out?
Uh, um, concerning, concerning this issue of certain.
All right, so I can hear you.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, you can, Moses. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for having me here. Well, first, first of all these vices that is bringing about the chaoses in the youth of our nation and what we are currently facing in the nation. I think one of the major factors that is contributing to this is lack of mentorship, and also to an extent I would say limited access to capital.
Okay.
Additionally, I will also say societal pressures and fear of failure is a contributing factor to all these menace, because most of the youth that are doing what they are not supposed to do, that are choosing the wrong path. They are seeing those wrong paths as a shortcut to achieve their needs, which is not very okay. It's the situation of the country that is putting them in this way. If the government of the day are able to provide mentorship programs, are able to provide accessible capitals for youth, I think it will go a long way in harnessing all this issue of youth that are doing what they are not supposed to do. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so any contribution to this, Mr. Benjamin?
All right, thank you very much, ma. I think the way forward here now for our youths, since our government is not helping, and it's obvious that they are not helping and they are not ready to help. If you look around us, you will see how our youths, are moving around hopeless, no job, nothing. Graduates are roaming around the streets. There is nothing for them. So I think the best thing here now is entrepreneurship. They should go into skills. They should learn more skills that will help them. If our youth can go into learning skills, there are a lot of things to learn. But the problem here now is that most of our youth are not even ready for that. Most of our youth are not ready to learn anything. So the best thing now for us is our youth should go into learning of skills,
All right.
into business. They should look for a way to help themselves, not depending on our government that are not even, you know, um, talking about them, because they are not talking about our government is not talking about our youths. So entrepreneurship and skills business should be the thing our the youth of the nation should be thinking about.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Marvelous. Um, do you want to say something to these?
Yes, Samosi said something, and he said the governments, they are not ready to look into the issue of the youth.
All right.
Savagely also said entrepreneurship would be the way forward. But then, looking at the situation of our country once again, finding mentorship opportunities. Yes, I've actually seen a number of opportunities for young people to go into because get mentored and trained. But then the resources to get into them, even when the government provides them, there's still some knowledge they lack that makes them miss it. I would always say that a man who you want to give something to that does not have a previous knowledge of it and you're not ready to give the person the knowledge beforehand would misuse the opportunity.
Yeah,
The
that's well
first
said.
thing you need to go about it, the first way to eradicate these vices is to give them this knowledge. Let them have access to personal knowledge that they can have access to at any point in time. And that's where the issue of getting books and functioning libraries come in. I remember about 5 years back, we still had functioning libraries here in Lagos. But now you will rarely find one where you will find a good book in. As at then, the last time I went to a functioning library, that was about 5 years ago, I saw a number of youths, and majority of them are doing well now. Yes, they could not have access to entrepreneurship grants because majority of the grants you see these days, majority of the entrepreneurship programs you see these days are majorly for adults. You rarely see government dropping entrepreneurship programs for people below 20. You rarely see it. And these are the people that are going into thuggery, that are going into these social vices. But then if there's an opportunity for them to learn on their own, or even if they are going to learn with the help of a person and get the right knowledge, trust me, they don't have to wait for the government to bring in an entrepreneurship program or whatever. They don't have to wait for a person to bring to them an entrepreneurship program before they can even provide the solution that they themselves will need.
All right,
For me
thank you
as a
so
person,
much. Yeah,
yes,
you can.
ma'am.
You start. I can hear you. You can continue. I just
All
wanted
right.
to thank you
So,
for that statement you made. So you
oh
can
no, thank
continue.
yes, ma'am. So, because for me as a person, if I had waited, or if I had said, okay, I'm waiting for the government to bring an entrepreneurship program for me to sign up for and learn, Probably I would have to wait for about maybe 5 years or 10 years after now before I can have access to any, because of the age range, the age
Yeah.
capacity that they for it. But then the access I've had over the years to books aided me with knowledge to know
Oh,
there are things I can do that I don't have to wait for the government. I don't have to wait for a personal person to come and say, Marvelous, come and do this thing, or to come and say, Marvelous, pick up this job and start doing. So
all right.
then it starts from the foundation, it starts from the basic foundation.
All
Another
right.
reason why every youth, every young person should be able to read, should have access to books, the right books, not just any book. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much for calling our attention to books. Well, talking about books, I think we don't want to go there because so many young people, that is the truth. Many young people don't read. They're always in a hurry. They're always looking for, the next gossip, the next trend, the next TikTok trend they can, jump into. And this is actually quite a tragic situation, considering the fact that we are trying to say that these people have been involved in several vices. In fact, I've been seeing, I don't know, they say they call them Gen Zs, then they say there's one they call the millennial. I don't really know where people come up with this name, and so they have been doing a lot of atrocities and everything. And I really feel that youth entrepreneurship might actually be a way for us, all right? Because we have vibrant youth. Young people have agility, like Marvelous said, all right? Marvelous said they can move their legs and everything, so they have energy, all right? So that's one thing that make you a youth, okay? Your energy, all right? And if this energy is actually directed in a productive cause, my question is, will it help Nigerian nation to skyrocket? Because if we look at it now, Benjamin, you made reference to entrepreneurship. We talked about, the government coming in and everything to help people should learn skill. So now, since you have proposed youth entrepreneurship as a way for the Nigerian youth to be able to become focused in the right things, rather than being engaged in social vices that won't really, help the country to grow. Because the more young people are being misled, all right, more young people are diving into, frauding, Yahoo Plus, and the rest. We're not going to be having people who should actually be leading in the country. And young people should be at the hem of, innovative discoveries, building projects, and everything. All right, so I have something here that is actually so amazing. You won't believe it. That the population of young people, all right, currently in Nigeria is about 1.2 billion. Amazing, right? Now, if you check this, young people in the nation are actually really much. So if we have young people in Nigeria that are standing up to say, "Oh, I want to start a business," rather than going into Yahoo, or rather than doing fraud, I want to start something else rather than prostituting my body. I want to do something else rather than allowing politicians to use me as, an election talk to destroy ballot boxes, sorry, or cause casualties. Now, if we have young people doing this, my question is going to Moses. Do you feel that there will be economic prosperity for Nigeria if we have more young people who are actually focused on saying, "I don't want to do prostitution, I don't want to do this. Let me build a business and grow it into something that can, give people jobs in the country, fellow youth like me." If everybody start thinking this way, do you feel that this will actually be a light for the Nigerian economy that is actually right now in a kind of, degraded state?
All right, thank you very much for having me once more. Now, answering the question, if we are able to utilize the number of youth, the percentage of youth that we have in the country right now, I think we'll really go a long way in solving this social vices problem. Take India, for instance.
All right.
I'll give you India because I've been following their economy for quite some time now. If you check let me say 50% of the courses that you see online, both paid and free courses that you see online, most of them are owned by Indians. And if you check the owners of those entities, they are mostly youth.
Wow.
India before now used to be one of the poorest country in the world. But
Of
if you check
course.
their statistics now, that has changed. Why? Because their government see the population of their youth and they make use of that population for their great advantage. Now look at the Indian government. They take good of good use. They make good use of the youthful population that they have. They invested in their education, and that has really affected the economy. That has really turned things around for them. Now coming to Nigeria, if Nigeria can be able to maximize the population of youth that we have in this country.
Benjamin, I'm going to direct the question to you.
That would help our youth very well, and it would also contribute to the success of our society and our nation, Nigeria. If our youth can go into entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship can help. It can help our nation, Nigeria, grow more and more if they can go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marvelous. They always say that there's no job in Nigeria. There is no job in Nigeria. So how about youth creating those jobs? What do you think is going to happen if this is actually the current situation in Nigeria, where we have youth who have companies, who are CEOs? Moses was making he made a reference to India, and that is true because I've seen a lot of Indian young people doing amazing things. You see, not even a youth now. You see a child of 9 year old who's already inventing a technology or an app people are using. All right, that is actually amazing. There is this young girl who invented an app for kids to learn. Now, if young people at that age is doing this kind of amazing thing outside in different parts of the world, coming down to Nigeria, marvelous. If we have young people like you who can actually say, "Oh, I want to become a CEO. I want to invent something." Do you feel that this is actually going to bring progress to Nigeria? And it's going to reduce the rate at which many people are complaining there is no job in the country.
So, this is a two-sided question and answer.
All right.
Why? Because there's a positive side to it and there's a negative side to it. Let me start with the negative side. The negative side of it is they use social media, which if you place a control goal in the hands of a man without knowledge, the goal will have it will lose and become wicked. The same thing applies to this entrepreneurship and business. If the youth don't have the right knowledge, even if they have the business idea, they have the business concept, if they don't have the right knowledge sustaining the business, making it fail to thrive, it will stall, it will break down, and it will cause more loss than profits. But then the positive side of it is if this youth or this teenager or this child having this same business idea is knowledgeable about what the person is about to bring forth, has every knowledge available, has the right people around, then we don't have any issue. It will definitely thrive, it will scale. Let me give an instance of, I think, how many, I cannot remember how many years ago it was myself and some other people that were together in the tech space and all. Then before I left and all, before I finally came to the tech space, so then we had various ideas, but we did not have the total knowledge needed. Not like we did not have the knowledge at all, but then more or less someone that is baked, we did not have the full knowledge. So what happened then? We had every structure ready. We had our files. The file is even still with me till now, though I've not been able to go through it that much. We had about 3 different business concepts. One was in the medical field, the other was in the tech space. It was even 4, One was for female advocacy, and the last one was in the agricultural sector. These four different businesses, yes, one was finally able to thrive because we were more knowledgeable in that field, and that was the medical field. But then the field of the agricultural aspect, the female advocacy aspect, and then the technical aspects, we could not move through with it. We could not move through it. Why? Because we did not have the full knowledge then. For the agricultural aspect, we just had a bit of the idea, this is how it's going to go. But then how to move into it and make it thrive was the issue. So we just had to let it go. We applied for grants, then we did not get it. Why? Because we did not have the issue of the female advocacy that we had then. It was Team Shout we made use of then. It could not thrive. We could not move forward with it because we did not have the full knowledge. We just had the passion for it. We just had a bit of idea, but not the full knowledge. Then the technical area, where we had some technical innovations we wanted to create then that would have helped the electricity, the road issues and all. We had it. We wrote it down. It was well structured. But then implementing and making it thrive, we could not because we did not have the full knowledge. So that's the same thing that applies to every form of entrepreneurship, every business, even if it's not entrepreneurship. When you go into it with half-baked ideas, when you go into it without having total knowledge, it's not compulsory like everything, but you should at least have 90% knowledge of it. If you don't have it, it will fall down. That's why you see they say startup in Nigeria don't last. It's not because they are not good ideas. It is because they don't have the right, they don't have the full knowledge. Not because they don't even have the right knowledge, because they don't have the full knowledge that they are meant to have. That's why it leads to the breakdown. They get money, the money is there, the structure is there, but then they cannot thrive so well, they cannot scale it so well because they are not fully knowledgeable.
All right, marvelous. Talking about youth entrepreneurship now, are we not saying that? Are we going to be limiting youth entrepreneurship to just having companies? Are we going to limit it to just okay? You're talking about having knowledge about 90%. Now, my question is, are we going to be limiting youth entrepreneurship to just having your own company, putting up business plan and all that? Because I believe youth entrepreneurship should be about having a skill that can give you money, having something that you can be able to, that can give job. Because the idea of youth entrepreneurship, when I was in university, I think we did a course like that. Yes, GST 201. They talked about entrepreneurship, and according to that book, because I really read that book, all right. So I paid attention because I actually love the idea of creating jobs for people. So that books made me understand that youth entrepreneurship is about, it mustn't just be having company. It's about you coming into to innovate, all right? You coming into invent things, you coming in to bring things into existence, creating jobs for people, solving problems. So the idea of youth entrepreneurship should not just be limited to having coming up with a business plan, pitching your business, having startups. It should be about looking for a way that you as a young person can empower yourself. Benjamin made reference to that. He talked about youth having skills. I mean, there are several skills that many people can have. For instance, I know people who actually are entrepreneurs. They don't have physical company. They run it virtually and they make money. Some of them are digital marketers. Some of them have SEO companies. Now that is actually the idea of youth entrepreneurship. And when we're looking at it from the bigger picture, we're looking at innovations, inventing cars and everything. Which makes me to ask this question. All right, Moses. Now we are saying that youth entrepreneurship is one way to help redirect the attention of our Nigerian youth into more productive things. But then I have so many doubts about this because when we started, some of you said that the Nigerian government don't care about us. We have had many instances where the government says they are running this scheme. We have the Empower, we have other scheme, and I'm aware of the NYSC program where you have to pitch, and if you happen to pitch well, they give you grant, provided that you are staying within that state and you're not relocating. Now, with all those things that they give empowerment to youths, the question is, many youths are actually not even having opportunity to that empowerment, those funds accessible for them to even say they want to start. Even if some of them have good business plan, they have the right structure, the funds to do it are not there. And so we have programs that government say, oh, we want to empower youth, but even before you even get to even register, they have selected the people they want to give it to. Which is why I want to ask Moses this question. All right, um I'm so curious to know if the Nigerian youth, if men, because I know there are youths who actually have business ideas, they have innovative ideas, they want to invent things, they want to start up companies, they want to do things that can make the economy better and the country better. But then the condition of the country is not favorable. We have instances of a young boy that invented a car prototype. What happened? People just, after making it, they took it online, they posted it, it went viral. Nothing was said. That project died. The government didn't make attempt to say, oh, let's transform this into a car. You're all aware that right now Nigerian purchases car from outside. They don't even use their own made car. And this is a young person who was very innovative and creative, that he invented a car prototype. And we have had so many people like that, many young people in science class who invent things, but yet they actually don't get the needed support. So, Moses, my question is, if young people, all right, if young people have the ideas, they have the business, they have the plan, like Marvelous said, they have the knowledge, they have 90% of the knowledge, then does it make any meaning when the government of the country is not supporting it, or is not going to push it, it's not going to give it the visibility it needs or the fund it needs?
What I would love to say about government intervention concerning this is, you know, it's quite fortunate that in a country like Nigeria, we have quite a population of youth that are creative, that can invent things. I don't know if you've come across it or if you're away. I think last month, there was a girl in Akwa Ibom that invented the phone.
Wow,
The phone without a screen.
amazing.
You can use it to make call. You can use it to track. It even act as a tracker as well. And if I must tell you, I think government really has a lot to do, because Nigeria is one country that is blessed with creative youth, with youth that are innovative in their thinking and all that. But the environment still stand at bringing those ideas down, because I've seen several investment, I've seen several youths that are creative in doing one thing or the other, but the environment is not conducive for their growth. You make mention of the young guy that produced a car prototype, and till date nothing has been done about it because the environment is bad. Even when the government provide some of the some programs for intervention, you find out that even before you go there, the cabal has hijacked the the process and affecting the whole thing. I think the whole thing boils out to family, because everything starts from the family.
Hmm.
If we can get it right from the family, if we can get everything right from the family, then we can get all these things right. Because most of all these things is tied to ethnicity, religious, and all that. There is no love. Because if there's love, some of these things can be averted. This is something that needs to be handled right from the root. And the root of all these things is from the family. We need to learn how to live with each other with love, leaving all this ethnicity, leaving all this the religious of a thing. Let's just live together as a nation, as one Nigeria that we are, and all this can be averted. The major problem that is causing all this, and is the cabal. Government is also trying their best, because if you can check, there are a lot of programs that our government has bring out in order to solve all these social vices problem, but the cabal end up thwarting their effort. So I think it's a thing that we all need to, all hands must be on deck to fight this menace. Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless you, Moses, for making reference to the family, because this is actually something I've been thinking about, and I was going to bring it up in the course of our discussion, which is why I'm going to direct the question to Benjamin, because he's a motivational speaker. And I know that while you were in school, Benjamin, if I'm correct, you actually had instances where you were a president in maybe for the youth, something like that, and you have had maybe the privilege of counseling young people and all that as a young person yourself. Now, so many young people who have great ideas, I mean magnificent ideas, they can sit down and they can create things. Some of them are so creative and all that, but then coming from a family background like theirs, it's a limitation, because most family are not in support. They're like, oh, our people did not used to do this thing, oh, chukudi, don't do it, don't invent anything. No, some family already have this mentality. They are okay with where they are. So that's one side of it. And there's some family that is going to be like, maybe their child keeps using wire to connect things. He wants to create next camera that's going to go viral, because he has been watching things about entrepreneurship. He has been following all these American blogs where you see young people doing great things. And now he feels that if I invent something, I can use this to actually, the country will support me. Maybe United Nations will see it and they'll say, oh, we want to pick this guy, he is good. And then the mother is like, this thing you are doing, you're wasting your time. Oh, leave this thing you are doing. Are you not seeing the likes of your friends on social media? They are TikTokers bringing money to their family. Now, the thing is that many parents, mothers, fathers, they put pressure on their child. They want them to engage in social media things. They want them to become like influencers. And that is not the way forward for entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is about creating business, innovating things that can solve problems. And so many social media influencers are not actually solving problems. Rather, they are creating content that can actually, some content, and some of these contents are not really edifying. So, Benjamin, can you actually share an experience if you've had one, all right? Maybe with a young person or maybe yourself. So of somebody who have shared a great idea they have. Like this person has a very good dream. He or she wants to do something, or maybe somebody wants to do something, but their family actually contributed to the downfall of it. Because if we're going to be blaming government, we should know that our parents also need to also be apportioned some of this blame, why youth entrepreneurship is not actually making any headway in Nigeria. So, Benjamin, we are listening to you.
Family is one of the things that is killing talent and the glory of the youth. Because looking at the youth in our country, Nigeria, you can see that they have the glory. The glory is there, the talent is there, they have the energy, everything is there. But one of the challenges they are facing is just lack of support, just like Moses said. And these support are not even coming from our families too. The support are not coming from our families. The support are not coming from governments. Let me just share this story. When I was growing up, I came from a family where my parents, they have nothing, so there is nothing there for them. But it has always been my dream, do you understand, to hire, meet people and be a blessing to lives. After my program school, I left my village because my village, in fact, let me just say that one of the things that is facing us and one of the things that is killing the youths in this country is comfort zone. Many of us are so much comfortable in our comfort zones that we hardly go out, we hardly think out of box. So we depend on our parents, receiving things from them. So we're not even thinking outside box. How can I go out? How can I improve my life and achieve more things like that. For me, in my own case, wasn't like that. After my program in school, I decided to leave the village and travel to city. Then I traveled to city. I had no one in the city. There was no family. There was nobody for me there. But I made up that decision because I want to help myself and I wanted to improve more. So when I got to the city, I was sleeping in church. The church I worshipped. So I was sleeping in that church and I was also working in the church just like that. Till one day a member of the church saw me and the man decided to help me. The man gave me some money. I started little business. From that business, it was from the business that I started improving myself just like that. Till I also met another person that helped me and gave me accommodation where I am staying. The person I am staying now is like a father. He has supports, giving me everything I want. The person is actually helping me. Do you understand? It's giving me the training I need for where I am going and all that. So coming to your question now, family background is sure that is limiting our youth. Comfort zone is another thing that is limiting our youth. But if our youth can decide, it's left for us, we youths of the nation Nigeria, because we are talking about government support and all these things. Some of us, even if government provide the support, we can't really do anything because we've not made up our mind. This is what we want. This is where we want to go. So if we can make up our mind and decide and tell ourselves the truth that this is what I want, what exactly do you want? You knowing what you want now will help you to know where you will channel your plans and your visions. So if we can tell ourselves the truths and decide where we want to go and what we want to achieve, I think that is one of the things that will help us. That's one of the things that will go a long way in understanding, helping us. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thank you very much. If you are still listening to this podcast, this is the Vigilant Podcast, where we share issues, we discuss issues that are actually very important in the society. And on today's episode, we are still discussing youth entrepreneurship. All right, so Marvelous, do you have anything to add to this on the family aspect? Since you talked a lot about you when you were growing, you talked about you who had about 4 or 5 business plans. Were there at any point that your family actually played, like they were actually a barrier? Because I know from experience, while I was trying to, I told myself in school that, oh, I wasn't going to come out from school and be a non-entity in the society because I was watching people were doing well. I really don't know what young people use social media to do, but I was seeing people doing well. I was amazed. I was like, wow. So if I can do well, it means that I will get known globally and I can leave the shores of this country and make a name for myself. And so while I was in school, God gave me an idea to start an academy. All right. Now, making reference to empowering youth, government has a role to play, but then, like Upepe rightly said, we also have a role to play. I didn't have the government empower me. I didn't have anybody giving me anything. Like from my allowance in school, I built my company from the scratch to where it is. No parent gave me a cupboard to put into it. It wasn't a mother that said, oh, take this money and start. So it did not die because I moved out of my comfort zone. Like Upepe said, I wanted something better. So, Marvelous, I want you to say something to this. Were there at any point your parents were actually a barrier? Because in my case, my parents didn't actually support what I was doing. They felt I was wasting my time trying to, like I claimed I was a writer. I'm a content creator, creating content on social media. Who is it going to pay? Who is it going to do anything to? But my idea was I wanted to build something, a company for myself where I can employ people. I mean, that's what entrepreneurship is about. So my family actually had a kind of role to play, but I didn't allow that limit me. But for you, in your case, Marvelous, was there at any point where family was actually a barrier for you? Marvelous, are you still with me? Marvelous. All right. So I asked the question. I said, was there at any point where your family actually became a barrier to the ideas you had?
Okay, yes. And even still currently, I still have issues with family and all. All right, so as at then, it was my auntie that made sure my dad and my mom could not stop me from. Because I had to go for a program then and learn some things before we come up with those ideas, right? But then my parents were not really, they were not ready to release me to go anywhere. But having, that's why I still thank God for the help of auntie I got there to release me and make sure that anything that happened in here. So that was what prompted me into what I did then.
All right,
Then,
thank you so much.
uh,
You're actually in a noisy place.
oh sorry. Every other idea. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, so every other idea I left them behind. But then when it got to the point of the agric part, I knew my daddy was working with a company in that industry, so I reached out to him. But then the only thing my dad could do then was just reference what the project to the owner or the managing director. So then it was just my dad. My auntie could not do much. She just got me some contacts of those in the agricultural industry. But then those were the only two people. They just dropped what they could, and I was left there. So that was when I had to just leave it. And I was going to a boarding school then. I could not pick up my phone when going. So I had to leave it behind then and move on with other things. That was when I abandoned that project as at then. So for me, I would say the number one philosophy I've always moved with while growing is family who can leave you at any point in time. See, your family can forget any day, anytime. But there's one thing: if you have built yourself as a personal person, if you have built relationships, if you have built networks with people around you, with friends, good friends, you would be able to thrive well.
All right, thank you
I've
so much,
m-
Marvelous,
so
for that
far, I don't.
beautiful.
I don't evolve. You rarely see me involving family members in what I do because I've always moved with that philosophy that I can lose family members anytime. Family members can forget me any day. They can exist anytime.
All right,
But
thank you
when you have
so much.
with other people who care about you and you care about them, you can reach out to them any day, anytime.
All
Trust me,
right.
they will treat you most times they will treat you better than a family member who has known you for so long, knows you in and out. Because a family member would reduce your capacity. But someone who is outside, who has seen what you can do, would place you in high regard.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. All right, so thank you for that. However, I want to say that family is still family and they have a place in our hearts. So I still believe that my family is important to me, regardless of if at the beginning of of my career, they weren't really in support, but they are still family and I still hold them dear to my heart. So regardless of if our family members know they were actually a barrier because they're families, all right? They want the best for us. So they feel that path you're actually going to take is not going to work because you're in a country like Nigeria for crying out loud. Go and do TikTok, go and do something else. Not this, it's not going to work. So our family put in consideration all this current situation in the country. So that is why they actually become like they are our enemies, but they are not. So let's not have the impression that my family is against my progress. No, they are not. Those people are actually looking at the current situation, which makes me to call on the government that you should empower our youth. Because youth entrepreneurship is an instrument that will promote employment growth, youth participation in economic activities, youth socialization and self-realization. How many banks in Nigeria can we boast of that is owned by young persons? By young people, I mean. How many? How many companies can we boast of that is owned by a young person? But you can see a young person as the MD. Why not the owner of the company? How many companies can we boast of that a young person in the food industry, in whatever industry? I mean, the government has a role to play because currently Nigeria economy is crumbling. The only means we used to have income that used to give us much income, petroleum, is currently not functioning the way it should be. Now the price of fuel has been hiked, and this is a country that used to be the largest exporter of oil. So what is the way out? Youth entrepreneurship is the way out. Why? Because the advancement of this path enables the nation creative development to benefit from the creative potential of the younger generation, particularly for young businesses. Youth are actually crucial human resources. Okay, look at you, Marvelous. You're actually doing well for yourself. Look at you, Moses. Look at you, Benjamin. You pushed yourself to get to this point. So you see that resilience of young people is what the government should buy into. But then we're in a country where the old want to stifle out the youth. So they rather say, let's silence them, let's make them handicapped, let's not promote what they do, so that we can use them as our thugs during election, so that they can vote wrongly. Because the youth hold the promise of becoming the world's next great leaders and drivers of economic growth. And in this 21st century, it presents more obstacles to youth empowerment, especially in a country like Nigeria. So we need to promote youth empowerment, which brings us to the final section of this discussion. Now, for the three guests who has joined me so far, Marvelous Olomu, Moses James, and Benjamin Upepe, I have to thank you so much for, giving us your time and attention and for sharing your opinion on this topic. Now, this is actually the part of the podcast where we have to bring in recommendation and solution. We've talked about youth entrepreneurship, we've talked about skills, we've talked about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, not looking at your family, not waiting for the government. But then the government has a role to play. The government owe it to us as citizens who have elected them. So that is why I want us to propose or recommend something that can make this youth entrepreneurship to become, something that people can buy into, young people can buy into. So, what ways can the government empower the young people? What ways? Right? I need your recommendations. What ways can the youth be empowered? What way? So, who's going to go first? All right, let's start with Moses. Moses, how do you feel that the government can empower you? Not just the government, family members, people who have large companies, people who are doing well, like the likes of Aliko Dangote, Tony Lumelu, and the rest. How can these people come in to empower young people?
All right, government can empower Nigerian youths by creating more job opportunities and by
Okay.
also supporting them with money. Government can support our youth with money. Other countries are doing it. Some countries are even paying their youth every month.
Wow.
Like just like you said now, that it's our right, it's right of Nigerian youths to be provided for by our government. So our government can provide for us. Our government can support us with money because we have the cash here, we have the resources, we have all that we need in the country. But it's just that they don't have our interests, they don't have us, in their hearts. So if they can provide for us, it would go a long way. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those
Thank you so much for
recommendations.
this recommendation.
Marvelous, can you also tell us what ways do you feel that the government can empower young people like you?
All right. So like Sabegami said job opportunity should be provided. The resources that is in the form of money should be should be made available. Also, aside from even just giving money out, there should be spaces for grooming. There should be room for grooming, because if you should provide a job of opportunity to a person with limited knowledge, if the government should provide these opportunities and the money aspects, there should also be room for grooming. there should be room for improvement, because if a man works with A level knowledge and is not ready to move to the next level, the person works, the results the person will give will always be at that A level. Whereas there are greater levels to A level that the person can give out. So aside from just providing money, which is needed for efficiency, aside from just providing job opportunity, there should also be room for grooming. And even aside from grooming also, we know that the government has been saying 38 job opportunities provided, these opportunities provided. But then these 38 opportunities provided, if you go there the next day, like you said earlier, you will just see that they've accepted about 37,999 people already, just remaining one space. Why is this is very prevalent? Why? Because most times it's either the government, sorry, it's either the government are not true to their words, or the people in charge of assessing people have names of their personal people they want to put there. You know, people will say, this is my person, this is my family member, this is my friend's daughter, this is my friend's daughter, so my friend's
Exactly.
daughter must be first. It should not be, because if you continue to say your friend's daughter, and your friend's daughter is doing well personally without that job, and then someone else staying in Ajegunle without any opportunity to even see 100 naira per day, the person now comes for that job, you're not saying your friend's daughter, it would not make any sense, because your friend's daughter will take it like, I've gotten another job. The person might take it so nonchalantly. But if it's a person who has the passion, who is ready to do the work and get the result, you would see that from that one job you provided to that one person, millions of jobs will come out, because the person has gone through the pain. I'm not saying those that are comfortable should not also get job opportunities. Yes, they should, because if they also join the percent of people that are not doing well, it will increase, it will skyrocket. But then also those that are not also doing well, if you should also groom them, you find the ones who are really ready to put in the work. You would see that when that one person becomes successful, the person has gone through the pain, the person knows what led to it, the person knows the process of getting into it, how the person got to the new heights. The person will surely provide an opportunity for the next person to get in,
All
and
right.
then from the next, more people will come in.
Thank you so
So
much,
it should not
Marvelous,
just,
for
yeah,
that
it should not just be
beautiful
about
this
person.
thing.
It
All
should not
right.
just be about,
So thank you
be
so
about
much for that beautiful recommendation. All right. So we're about to come to the end of the podcast. So all right. So Moses, just give your brief recommendation. How should the youth be empowered when it comes to entrepreneurship? So a brief
Very much for having me. What I would like to add here is I think Marvelous has spoken well. One of the key factors that is hindering youth entrepreneurship is the, let's say, the sentiment in the who know who pattern of the thing that is mostly prevailing in Nigeria, our country. But if that can be put aside, let's just give the work to who really need the work. I think it will really go a long way. And another factor I would like to add is that one major thing that will also help youth entrepreneurship in our nation is if the government can include some specific skills in our educational curriculum. Because if you look at our educational curriculum, you barely find practical skills in our curriculum. I think that is one key factor that the government needs to look into. Because you find out that you can see somebody that said he's a graduate today, but if you ask that person, what can you do as an individual? There's nothing physically that the person can do as a skill. I think that's one of the key factors that the government also need to consider in our educational system.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to my amazing guest. Like, it was a wonderful one with you all. I mean, I actually really got a lot from you all, and I know the listeners will. I learned a lot moving out from your comfort zone, you know, talking about family and everything. Like, it was actually amazing. I really enjoy having this discussion with you all. All right, listeners, we have come to the end of the Vigilant podcast. And to end this podcast, these are the recommendations that our guests have given: that the government should increase empowerment schemes for youth, grants easily accessible, and funds also should be given for what creative business ideas. Ensure equal opportunities for all youth to contest and get funds at their business with their abilities. So that is, there should be actually an equal opportunity for people to get this fund. They shouldn't pick anybody. Marvelous said something. Somebody somewhere has picked, maybe, oh, my cousin's sister should. That shouldn't be the case. Also, the government should sponsor creative initiative and inventions. Nigeria should promote the great inventions of young people. Hassan Ahua is a 30-year-old from Bauchi who invented a prototype car, but he lacked the sponsorship to make his invention go into execution, and we don't want that for the youth. So the government have to sponsor creative inventions. Also, leading industries should set up internship roles that will help develop entrepreneurship skills and endeavors, just like Moses have said. And companies should give out free funds. There are so many companies. We have the likes of Aliko Dangote doing well. They should give out free funds to support talented individuals. And I feel that I know that I'm very aware of Tony Elumelu's foundation. They do that a lot. Finally, the media should play a vital role in giving priority to promoting youth entrepreneurship and talented entrepreneurs. So, thank you for joining us on the Vigilant podcast. You are a young person. We want to see you shine. Nigerian youth, you can shine. So, kindly drop your contributions. If you have comments you want to make for us to read on the next podcast episode, then kindly do that. Thank you, my guests, for joining me. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, Moses. Thank you, Marvelous. It was nice having you all. All right, on the next episode, we'll meet again. Bye for now. Thank you so much.